All right, into our third on the feed story, a little lighter. We're talking Mike Bloomberg and the Fuck Jerry campaign that happened recently. So you would have seen probably, if you didn't see it on your Instagram, it was definitely all over Twitter. But Mike Bloomberg, who's one of the presidential candidates for the upcoming US election, basically did a bunch of paid sponsored Instagram ads with meme accounts.
Absolutely. The best value for money.
You reckon?
You know why?
Yeah.
I have not seen that post. I don't follow that account. Didn't see any of the posts or anything like that. But the amount that people are talking now about presidential candidate Mike Bloomberg and how he spent money on an influencer that, like, I haven't seen that post. That post, they probably paid for a reach of, say, like 4 or 5 million people. Probably 200, 300, 500 million people they might not have seen the post, but they've probably heard about how presidential candidate Mike Bloomberg is promoting his campaign through Instagram posts.
So true. Like the PR machine that gets spun behind it is more valuable than the post itself.
Honestly. Oh my God. So much in this instance, because everyone's just talking like, oh, is it effective? And there's been, a lot of, negativity around it, obviously.
It was a little cringe. It was a little cringy. It was basically him
fellow kids.
It was basically like screenshots of DMs between Mike Bloomberg and whatever the app was, being like, hey, can you promote me? Yeah.
Yeah, and him being like $1 billion, and and then he replied like check or cash or something like that, right?
Yeah, send me a Venmo.
But, I think, what's actually interesting for me is number one that, I think it's like a bold move to make. I think obviously it's definitely paid off because I think his biggest issue was he entered the race very late. I don't think he was initially planning on being a candidate. And then he, 11th hour, was like, yeah, you know what? I'll try and be president. I think the interesting thing is that, that he needed to
make a splash.
Most people didn't even know he was running until this campaign. I did not know he was running for president until this news story came out. So it's achieved what it wanted to achieve. But I think it's super cool and interesting. I think you and I see this a lot when we're working with brands. If a brand's like, hey, we want you to promote something, and you're like, oh, I've got this like creative way we could do it. They're like, no.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, no, but like, honestly, this is going to resonate really well with my audience. I'm going to make this joke about this. And like, trust me, it's like, I know you guys don't understand what the joke is, but it reflects the product in a really positive way. They'll be like, no. Stay on script.
So true.
Stick to the dot points.
Credit to them. They clearly worked with people, and I believe they work with Fuck Jerry's media agency to actually craft the posts. But they trusted them to do it in a way that was for social media, you can tell that it wasn't just them paying these accounts to put a photo of Mike Bloomberg advocating for him for president. Like they did it in an authentic way to the platform, which is cool. It's funny. It's like meme strategies are now, nothing is exempt from them. And I think it's interesting as well that they clearly recognize that the young population is such a key one for them to hit. And therefore you have to go to where young people are. And social media is that. Like it is pretty crazy that influencer marketing is now hitting that sort of level of campaign.
Yeah, I think it's it's interesting. And you even look at the post itself and it's not really and I think this is once again why it was like such a success, or like the reason you can consider what they did a success is if you actually look at the post, it's not saying, hey, Fuck Jerry doesn't actually say what his policies are or that he's a good candidate or anything like that. It's literally him saying, I want to pay you money to endorse me. Literally saying nothing about, hey, do you want to endorse me because of my good social policies?
They don't even endorse him.
No, but the purpose of that post was clearly not to really say like, oh, look what a great guy he is or look how good his policies are. It was literally just to get the knowledge out there that he is a candidate for the presidential race.
Yeah.
And ultimately, so the fact that it ballooned out from that into this much bigger news story conversation, it absolutely nailed what it wanted to do. Whether or not that was intentional or not, probably not. But man.
No, I reckon it was intentional because now I'm thinking about it. You know what's interesting is in none of those posts did they actually tell people to vote for him. They didn't push his policies. They didn't push the audience anyway, which I think young people hate feeling pushed.
Yeah.
They hate feeling like they're being told to do anything that they don't necessarily
Turn
want
left,
to do.
I turn right.
Exactly, though. Like, those posts were so smart because they weren't actually telling people to do anything. It was just making sure that young people knew his name where they might not have before, or they're having a conversation about this, like we are, where they wouldn't have before. And therefore, it just builds this, like, good vibes with him. And I think it's like, okay, he didn't tell me to vote for him, but he did some cool influencer marketing on Fuck Jerry, and I follow Fuck Jerry. Therefore, he understands me, and therefore I'm going to go with someone that understands me and the people that I'm friends with and my, you know, where I am. I think that is like really cool. I wonder how much he paid for them.